Welcome back to the masterclass of Dr. Madler. Today I would like to introduce you our new Commander touch panel, and I would like to explain every single parameter which is available on the machine. This kind of touch panel Commander is available on our classes 1280-7, 1281-7 and class 1200-7. Let me explain the main side of the touch pen. So this is the main screen, and here we do have in the left corner a switch where we can switch between sequence sewing. That means all the selected programs are getting blue and a small arrow between. That means I will stitch one program and the machine will automatically change to the next program. If I switch this off, the color will get gray on the programs I have not selected, and on blue on the one which I have selected. So that means the machine would stitch only program number 2. To change from one program to the other, very simple, I just select the one which I need, and with this case, the graphic will change according to the program programmed. So, the next button which you can choose here is S01. S01 means these are the sequences which are available. If you touch here, there you have up to 40 different sequences. If you want to change the sequence, you go to Edit. I will show this later. This here shows the name of the selected program. So P06, P06, this is an inseam back trouser on top. P02 would be side seam, front trouser on top or back trouser on bottom. The next position here is our piece counter. The piece counter can be programmed in the count mode, up or down, or I can switch it off. Then I can change the number of the counted pieces. So for example, I have now 2, and let's say the technician has stitched some seams and you would like to set it back to 0. So the next position here is count for every programs. That means I can program that the piece counter count one piece after stitching 4 programs to count the number of garments instead of number of seams. Would be also easily possible by selecting plus or minus or selecting directly the number of seams. To reset everything, I can reset the counter like here, and then everything is resetted to 0. Then I do have here a question mark. What does it mean? In case I do not have my manual with me and I would like to know what are the functions of these quick access icon parameters. So that means I push one time the question mark and I can select now one of the icons. I will get the information. This is a parameter for table bluing and a description of what this function is for and what you can change there. If I want to check all the quick access icons here, I have to hold this a little longer, 1-2 seconds, and then instead of the gray color, it will change to blue. This is, we call it training function. So that means I can check every single parameter one by one and get an explanation of what is the parameter for and what you can change there. So if you finish all this and you want to start with the sewing process, you just deactivate it by clicking it one more time. Below this sign, we do have here a message box. A message box is for the technician to analyze and prove what problems, what messages the machine sending to the control, to the touch panel, to inform the technician what problems I have, what you have to solve, etc. P ... are program parameters. Program parameters for the selected program here. So if I go here, all the programs which you, or all the parameters to this program which you would like to change are in a list available. If I would like to change one parameter in program number 2 and afterwards in program number 6, I can quickly change it here too. So here you have the programs of the sequence, and if you would like to go and change other programs too, here you would have the choice of all the programs up to 200. But at the moment we are in the sequence, and I have the parameters here for program number 2, let's say. So all the parameters are visible. Then I do have here in this field the list of programs which are programmed in the sequence number 01. So I have now 4 programs in the sequence 01. As soon as I change from one program to the other, this graphic is always matching and depending on different programs. So it shows me what kind of program, what kind of garment I am stitching here. This field here is the quick access icon field. You will see here we have 3 different pages, and I can easily wipe from one page to the other. And I have more possibilities of quick access icons if necessary. Here we do have our navigation menu or burger menu. So here, if I select my navigation menu, I have the sequence programming. If I select this, I am in the same sequence which I go if I go here. So that means here I can program my sequence. So I go to edit and I am in the same sequence programming mode. Then I do have my program parameters, P ... means I am in the same page, in the same area where I go if I push this P ... These are just 2 different doors to adjust the parameters. Settings. Settings is for the standard user configuration. We have here one position where we can change the language. We have translated the machine in 17 different languages, and more will follow if required. We can change the brightness of the touch panel and the panel audio volume. Under information here, you will find copyright version, the version number of the software, software licenses, the lifetime counter of the machine, how many seams has been done on the machine, what kind of control unit we are using, what kind of control panel we are using, and what is the machine class we are using. In the navigation menu, you have another button here for our tutorials. Tutorials we are offering on the machine. The control panel as a short manual. So that means a description of what I'm explaining now in short form to have a quick start on the machine. So this is a PDF file where we have an explanation in English with all the necessary descriptions for the most wanted icons need to be changed. Beside this, we do have also the long version. So the long version of the training, we have split it in chapters. And you can select the chapter, and again you have the long version of the chapter, very detailed, of every single position. Then we do offer control panel videos. So the chapters here, which were in written form, we also have as a video. So a video available how to change the language. So in case you cannot read and understand English, we have the possibility here to show or to see the video to change the language or to change the program, to create a sequence, to all the necessary functions which you daily would maybe need. Then we do offer a machine video here. This is a video how to clean the machine properly. Because, like a good car, if you clean it very nice and treat your car very well, it will last longer. This is the idea behind. The next point here is in the list the official manual of the whole machine. That means the hardware adjustment, the head adjustment, everything. So this is the official manual of our homepage, which you could also download over there. In case we would get an update of the manuals and of the machine, you could download it and load it via USB on the machine. So then we do have user tutorials here. Here is a short introduction of a presentation of this product. So this is more, let's say, a presentation of why you should use the machine, what are the advantages of the machine, where are the differences between the classes, what was the class before, what are the new features on the class, etc., etc. So this is a theoretical presentation for you. And then going back to the navigation menu, we do have here a logout, and we can log in as a user or as a technician. I will check in as a technician now. So you have to type technician. And then you have to type the password. The password you will get from our technical department. Now I am in the technical level. So you can see it in the navigation menu. So the default is for technicians. If I jump now into the system of settings, I would have more parameters, more levels to change. The first one would be machine configuration. So here I do have the information what class I have, what sewing head is selected, and what stitch type is mounted on the machine. Then we do have stacker. We offer different stacker systems. We offer the clamp stacker, flip stacker, or split stacker. Thread monitors can be mounted up to 3 thread monitors on the machine. You can have no thread monitor because it's an option. You can have 1, 2, or 3. Then we do have the choice here of pneumatic edge guide for manual fabric cutting. So this would be normally placed here. This is now mechanical edge guide, but a pneumatic one would be positioned on the same position here and could be switched in and out while or during the program while stitching. On this machine, again, I do have the mechanical one, which is a standard. Pneumatic is an option. So if it is not available, we just switch it off here. And that means all the parameters for this function is not visible. Then we do have different support units. We have the support unit, a puller in combination with a rollout device. This is an optional equipment. We do have a possibility of a swing out device and down holder. This is just a device which catches the material and swing it into the stacker. Or I just have standard-wise a down holder on the machine. Then we have as an optional equipment a so-called thread tension release. This is this part, this pin, which releases the thread tension while we do the chain cut. So this is necessary or recommended in case you have more than 3 threads on the machine. Then we do have a laser marking lamp, which is this one here. This laser marking lamp is also an option, which indicates where your seam will be, the seam position. So the operator can move the material a little bit in or out, depends if you have any bar tacks or tacks on the material which need to be covered in the seam. Then we do have the differential feed on the machine, where we can have a selection of no system at all. So that means we have just one mechanical setting, and this is a setting for the whole production. Then I could have as an option the cylinder, so a pneumatic version, where I can switch in and out. So I have 2 different values, flat stitching and fullness. I can have stepper motors. This you can see here on the machine. We have stepper motors for top and bottom feed, so I can freely program how much fullness I would have or what is the setting of my differential top and bottom feed. Yeah, and last but not least, the mechanical setting is the standard of the machine. Good. Next one is the service. The service area is important for technicians to test the machine. So here you have all functions for the machine test, like a test for the puller roll-off device, for stepper motors, for test the sewing drive if everything is okay there, and test of the foot pedal. Then we do have the multi-test. Here we have in-output tests and RAM test and ROM tests. Then we do have a point here to initialize the machine. Initialize means, let's say you are at a machine where a lot of people played around and the whole machine is totally confused now and the sewing result is a disaster. So here you could say, init the global parameter to the default setting of DOCOP Adler, or init the sequences which are presetted by DOCOP Adler, init the sewing programs only, or make a master init. Master init is always a little critical. We do not suggest to do that because any other setting which is maybe still correct might be not correct afterwards. And init the machine configuration to what DOCOP Adler was setting. So these inits might be sometimes necessary in case you want to reset the whole machine and to start it from zero again. So then we do have two positions here. Remove user tutorials. So everything what is default on our machine, it doesn't matter if we talk about parameters, programs, sequences, user tutorials, and user tutorials. These cannot be deleted if they come from our side, that means from DOCOP Adler side. So the default settings not possible to delete. Don't worry, if you delete something, it is only your own datas. That could be also difficult. So here you could remove some tutorials, and here you could remove your own tutorials. So that means, here you could remove your tutorials which you have loaded. You can load photos, you can load manuals, you can load videos, you can load everything you want. You just use it here, stick in the USB stick, and you can load the datas which are required, especially for your case. Then logging. Logging is an information for a technician, or it might be an interesting information for us at DOCOP Adler. If you talk with our service department, they might need these kind of data to help you out with maybe a problem you have on your machine. Global parameters. These are parameters which are necessary and which are important for all the programs you have on the machine. So that means this is global overall. Has nothing to do with special program parameters, because these are parameters which counts for all, and you need for every single program the same setting. For example, light barrier in this case, the delay to lower the sewing foot after light barrier recognition. So again, if you find a text here which is not 100% written because the text field is too small, ask by question mark, push here, and then again you have the full text visible which describes what you are changing here. And another parameter would be here, for example, automatic sewing start delay. This is also something which you need on every program the same. That's why global parameter. So in the global parameters, you find all the parameters for the light barrier, for the thread tension release, for the thread chain cut, for stacker, down holder, and rollout device, for the thread monitor, needle position at the bottom dead point, that means how deep the needle should be, where is the position here, the stitch length on the machine, what is mechanically adjusted. So that means for the whole process of the machine, you have to inform the machine what is the stitch length you have mechanically adjusted, because on this information, all the calculation for the fullness, for the seam length, everything will be calculated. If your system, if your programs does not match perfect with the length you measure, that means the setting, the mechanical setting, and the information of the stitch length might be not matching. Then sewing speed. This is the sewing speed, the maximum sewing speed which you can adjust for all the special programs. So you are blocking the speed here for the machine that nobody can play around and maybe damage something by having a higher speed than allowed. Then you do have sewing foot lifting at seam beginning and end. Here you can say sewing foot up or down, depends how you want to load your material. Another position or another parameter here, needle position at the seam end, up or down, if you want to use the needle as a positioning point underneath the sewing foot. So these were the global parameters. Now coming at the user configuration we have seen already, this is clear. The information we have also seen already is clear. And now coming to the software update. If you do a software update, you have to load your stick with the software in the control panel. It will be shown here. You click on this file and the software update will be done fully automatic. Manual data transfer. Here you can say you want to export data, like you have a USB stick and you export all the programs, sequences, global parameters, configuration, login files, everything. So here you can export it and transfer it to the next machine, or you import it. So you have your stick with all the data and you import it here. So that was the level of the settings. Now I would like to show you how to create a sequence. If you have the sequence here, you have the list of sequences, and let's choose one empty one now. Let's say the 21, S21. You see there is P02. That means you do not have any empty sequences on the machine. There's always a placeholder. So if I take this placeholder now and I would like to create my own sequence with new programs, I have to select here the edit mode. So if I am in the edit mode, I can say I want to add some programs. So let's say plus, and here I have a list of all the programs which are available. So I have add programs into sequence number 22. Here I have an information at present. I have 1 out of maximum 14 I can add. And of course I could ask here what is behind these programs. So then I have a list here which shows with the graphic what is the seam behind. And we do have here gray fields. The total gray one means I am a program which is already used in a sequence, and it's not an empty one. Oh, sorry. So it is a used program but not used in a sequence. If you have a small error, the yellow error here means I am a used program and I am used in a sequence. Then I do have here a half gray field. That means I am a used one, but I'm not in any sequence used. Then I do have the white ones, and the white ones means I'm totally free. So I am a program where I'm not used. I just have my standard settings, nothing else. So, and now I'm taking a couple of programs now. I'm using 34, 5, 6, 7, let's say. And you see here, it's counting up and show me how many programs I have in my sequence now. And 14 is the maximum. So 6 I have in total in my program now. And I would say, yes, okay, I want to have these 6 ones. If I now decide the first one I want to delete, I just delete it here. So now 5 has left. I could go now back and I have chosen the sequence 22, and now I have P35 up to P38, working in sequence or manual. And now let's say I would like to change these programs with parameters. I will go back to sequence. I will go to edit. Now I have my sequence here. And now I want to make all these programs some changes. And then I go to P ... And now I have my sequence programs here. I have my graphic visible, what I am stitching in this one. And these are the parameters for the selected program. Now let's say at the moment this machine or this program has side seam front trouser on top. I would like to change it maybe to inseam back trouser on top. So we have created for you templates to have a template program with the right setting to do this application. Very simple. You go now to T. T for template. Here we do offer side seam closing, all the templates. That's why we call it now T01 up to T04. That means T01 is side seam, back trouser on top without fullness. Side seam, back trouser on top without fullness. On the bottom, sorry. Side seam, T3 is side seam, back trousers on top with fullness, and the same without fullness. So let's say I want to change to this one with fullness. So the graphic will change now to this small one. Yeah? I say, okay. The system will ask me, please confirm, are you sure? And you say, yes. Change the template, and he informs you, yes, successfully changed. And now you can see the graphic has changed. So here now we have a graphic with fullness. Let's say I do have here now the side seam front trouser on top with fullness. The next one, I would do the back trouser on top and fullness on the bottom. So what I would do is select the same thing, and I would need the back trouser on top with fullness. So we choose the T03. Change the template, okay. So now I have side seam, back trouser on bottom, side seam, back trouser on top, and both with fullness. Let's say here I would do the inseams now. I select my program which I want to change. T for the template, select the inseams. Here I select the one T5, that means front trouser on top. And the next one, back trouser on top. Template, inseam, second one, okay. So now you would have 4 seams for a complete trouser. So you could delete the last one afterwards, but let's say you have these 5 programs. Now you could go to one of these programs and say, okay, I have to check, for example, the speed of program number P35. I don't want to have 5,500. I can reduce it by this, or I tip here and I just type the right one which I would like to have. Then I could do the soft start. The parameters here are shown, plus, minus, or type directly, type it and confirm OK. So here you have all the parameters for the sewing head. Here you have all the parameters for the differential bottom feet. So here we can activate the differential bottom feet, and we can say what will be the length and where I want to switch on the fullness. That means we are using here a system where you can load your ruler on the trouser and you just read the numbers where you want to have an action and how much. So let's say I will start the first 3 centimeters without any action of fullness. Then I'll keep off all the functions above this. Then the second part, after 3 centimeter, let's say below the pocket is maybe 30 centimeter, up to 30 centimeter, I would like to have fullness. So I have to activate the fullness first. And then I could give a value of fullness inside. So that means I hold this a little longer. And let's say I have a fullness value requirement of maybe 10. This we have to test because from fabric to fabric, it is definitely different. Then I will always switch on the fullness plus in the area where I'm using fullness. This is a function which you have on the front page. I will show you. Let's go to this one. So you have here fullness plus. So if you stitch, for example, one time a thin material and you have the same style, the same shape, everything same except a little thicker material. And then you realize you would need a little bit more of fullness because thicker material, the machine has to work a little harder to get fullness in. In this case, you could now go to differential bottom or top feet and say here, plus or minus. And you adjust it quickly without going deeply in the programming. So let's go back. So this is a differential feet. So let's say the next 30 centimeters, we switch on a fullness, and after 30 centimeters, I just want to stitch flat. So I do not need to activate the rest of the seams. If I want to have different fullness areas, let's say you would have a trouser or a style where you would have another 5 centimeter with less fullness, you could do it just by doing 35 centimeter, switch it on, hold it a little longer, then you can type how much fullness you want, maybe 5 only, and then you activate it, and then the fullness in this first 35 centimeters is programmed. If you now have fabrics where you maybe have problems in having a too fast seam or too fast stitching on the machine, in this case you could activate a reduced speed. It makes sense, a reduced speed in the beginning and in the area where you switch on the fullness. Because if you reduce the speed and the fullness is activated, the machine has better chance to have a nice, proper fullness. Okay, now differential feed is set. I go back, everything is clear. So other parameters here would be, for example, now I have to go back through this, to do this edit mode. So the differential feed, and now I could go to the table blowing. All parameters for the table blowing here are visible. So again, if the text is not complete, I just push the question mark, push this, and then a description of this parameter will be appearing. So then we have parameters for the contour guide. Contour guide here is this part here. So that means the contour guide, seam length until contour guide lowers. That means normally we have an open contour guide to load properly my material. And then if it is inside the material, I program when it should close. In general, it should close after a short period of stitching. Here it's set it by 3 centimeters. Then, for example, we can program seam length until the contour guide lifts up. What for do I need this? Imagine that we have a trouser and we stitch from the beginning over the pocket bag. And in the area of the pocket bag, I have a thicker area. So if I keep my edge guide or my contour guide closed, it might be it gets stuck here and you get smaller stitch lengths, and maybe it gets stuck on one point and the thread will cut. So to make sure that in this area we run through smoothly, I can lift up my edge guide and close it after 3, 4, 5 centimeters as soon as I have passed this thick area. Then seam length with contour guide up. So that means I switch it, I open it for after 20 centimeter and I close it after 5 as soon as I have passed this thick area. Then we do have a mode of contour guides. This is actually the position of the contour guide. Depending on the application, I can have the contour guide in the front of the sewing head, but in the rear position. That means this one. So I have it back and I will insert it later on. Other applications where I do inseam or center back seam in jackets, it might be that I insert the edge guide or the contour guide immediately, and we start immediately with the contour guide. So here I have the possibility to decide what position I would like, where this contour guide should stand in the very beginning before sewing start. Then I do have here a parameter where I can decide the seam length until contour guide moves in the front. So this special machine does not have it, but for example the 1281, the contour guide has the position of working in X and Y direction, and I can program that it starts a bit far away from the sewing head because I need to load material. I would like to use my hand, And here I can program after how many stitches, that means after what stitch length, the contour guide moves in front of the sewing head. Here we do have the adjustment of the stacker delay after chain cut. This is important, depending also sometimes on the material. So if the chain cut is done, after how many milliseconds the stacker should catch the material and stack it. So then we do have a parameter stop in seam. Stop in seam means I can activate a stop in the seam in case necessary. Let's imagine you have a fabric where you would like to add a label in the seam. So in this case, you would start your automatic sewing process and you stop somewhere in the seam. You defined, of course, clearly where to stop. So after, let's say, 20, 30, 50 centimeter. And then you have the possibility to add your label. We will stitch another 3 centimeter over the label, maybe manual if I want. And then finish the seam till the end. And this can be adjusted here. So here I would activate again after how many centimeters I stop, insert my label and finish the rest. And I can have up to 3 stops within one seam. Maybe you don't need it for the classic garment product, but we do have customers who are stitching fabric in 4 corners or 4 edges. So in this case, they need 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. Or 3 stops and then finish the rest before stacking. So here we have the possibility of 3 different stops. I switch this off. Go back. Then I do have here a parameter for puller and rollout device. Puller is the front roll and rollout device are the 2 back rolls. And here I have 2 different parameter settings. I can say switch on or off in general. And then I do have here all the parameters which belong to the puller, or all the parameters which belong to the rollout device. Waist suction, if I do have here my seam with safety seam, for example, and I am cutting material waste, maybe pocket bag extensions, maybe fabric edges or anything. In this case, I have the suction waist mounted on the machine, which is an option. So here I can program after how many seam lengths my waist suction should start. Differential top feed, the same setting which I have explained already for the bottom feed. And here I can activate or deactivate my laser marking line. So these are already all the parameters which you would need per program to change and to adjust. Okay, so now let's say you would like to create here your own quick access icons. Let's say you would like to delete the last page of, or you don't want to show any quick access icons to the operators. In this case, you could do that. You go to the sequence, you go to edit, and here you have another symbol of making your own quick access icons. The machine will load all the available icons and you can choose on which of the 3 pages you would like to delete them. So you just wipe from one side to the other. So here, for example, I have 5 icons, and if I would like to delete, I just drag and drop. I catch it and bring it back down to the grid view. I catch it and bring it down to the grid view. If I would like to place another one, just the same thing vice versa. I catch one and then I move it to the position where I would like to have it. So I can create my own interface on the machine. If I now would like to copy this sequence into another one, again, I go to Edit, and I could say here, copy the sequence where I am on now, copy it to another sequence. You just select another sequence, and you get a one-to-one copy in another place. Let's say we choose the last one as a test. Okay, copy the sequence. Yes, it's successfully copied. So now, if I choose, this 22 is P34 to 38. If I choose the last one now, I have the same visible. So I can make one-to-one copy in different sequences. If I want to copy a program, let's say I would like to copy program number P35 into, let's say, P38, I would go again to the P ... and here I could program my single program. So I would have here the program, the selected, close. I would copy this one into 38. I just select my copy signal, and I select my program number 38, this one, say OK, copy the parameters, successfully copied, and now you can see it is 100% copied into this one. Good. So what else? The quick access icons here are showing exactly the same parameters if you go to P ... So that means sewing head parameters you can quickly reach, for example, here. So this is the parameter for sewing head parameters. You have the same parameters visible. The function of these buttons has different ideas. So, for example, I can switch on or off a function, and if I have this small blue arrow in the corner, I have to hold it 1-2 seconds, and then I can open the parameters in the background. If I have just an icon as a black one, I can use this. And in this case, that would be one-time stacking process. This one here is an icon without a frame, but in gray. That means a threading icon. Threading means everything is deactivated. I can push the pedal, nothing will happen, and I can thread in my machine without any danger. Important here, we have always for the threading process the different threads which you have to thread in, visible as a photo, as a graphic, to make it easier for you. If you leave this sequence, the machine is ready to stitch. This we have learned already. This kind of icon, if you have a light gray one with one of the digits on the top means if I touch this, a subfield will open and I can change with plus or minus. I can change the value of this parameter, which is explained here, fullness plus. Then we do have here one icon. If I click this on, this is a gray one, just to switch on or off. This, for example, is for manual sewing. Now all the functions of Stecker and everything around is switched off. I'm just testing whether my stitch picture is working fine after threading, for example, to make sure that before you start with the real product, the stitch formation is perfect. I will switch this off again. So here you will see how to set the speed. So the speed can be set it in this way. I can type it directly, or I can make plus or minus. So I have 3 different possibilities to set this speed. So that means these are also parameters to change. If I have now a parameter where I have only a small error, if I click this now, I have the parameters visible and I have to change here directly. And then one parameter just gray, I can deactivate the whole screen in case I would like to go, I don't know, I have a break, or I don't know, I want to just lock my screen for a certain time. The machine will still stitch. And if I want to deactivate it, I just hold it 2 seconds and it is deactivated. Good. So what else is missing? I think this is all. We have seen the complete navigation menu. Yeah. So I think this should be all for, no, I forgot something. I knew I forgot. The name. If you want to change the name of a sequence, this I missed. So you can click here and then you can change the name of the sequence. Let's say you change your name. You can change to small and big letters here as you like, okay? So this is how to change the sequence name. And if you would like to change program name, you go again to p ... Everything what you do in p ... means these are special program parameters, and this you change only for this single selected program. So if you want to change something here, I will maybe now change here. So I have double click here. And then I can delete my text and create my own one. So this was the presentation of our masterclass on our touch panel commander. I hope you liked it, you enjoyed it, and please find further information about our classes on our homepage. We do have product pages with more information, with videos, application videos, maybe new ideas of applications. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you at our next masterclass.